Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are going to continue what we started yesterday, plus, we'll see if we have time to start thinking about how we're going to do some of the story stuff that I want to do in this game. But, armor comes first. We need armor. Mental, yeah. I mean, Unity 5.3 does add the JSON serialization library. It's nice to not have to include another JSON serialization library. I always felt it was incredibly stupid that they had one, and then you would spend all this time just adding your own. It seems silly, but I'm glad that they finally fixed that. I'm probably going to wait till 5.3.1 to actually do the download and handle all that stuff, because I always worry about stability things. I always worry about bugs that'll break things. You can't really ever find every bug until, you've got it released out to people for a while and all the big terrible things come, flying out of the framework. So it's definitely something to be said for just being a little patient. Granted, if you really, really want that stuff, then yeah, that's one way to go for it. So, we were staring at armor. I was trying to figure out some details of what I wanted to mess with inside of armor, and I think I've come up with how I want to actually implement some of that stuff. So, specifically, if we jump into armor item and crack open Visual Studio while we're at it. So the things I've noticed, one, I do pretty much need some kind of class requirement, right? And that actually can have more power than these three put together. Those three are kind of nice, but they don't really stop, a wizard from eventually wearing full plate mail. So we should probably handle the character class details. And the one thing is that currently, at least as far as I know, only player characters don't even have a character class right now. So let's get player characters in. And this required me to design all of my character classes in the first place. So there was definitely some design going on last night where I had to make sure that they matched and that they did what I want and all that good stuff. So, let's see here. Excuse me. My nose has been stuffed up for days. I'm almost, clear of it, but not quite. So, let's see here. We've got thugs. We've got guardsmen. And for the most part, these are not the classes that your character is leveling up in and handling. This is what they were doing previous to taking off as adventurers. So I like the idea that anyone can evolve into anything, but that you have to work your way there. So being a thug or being a guardsman by trade was kind of just the last thing you did before you kind of dropped everything, said, screw it, I'm gonna go adventuring. And from there your character can evolve kind of organically. But the one thing is that certain classes will have certain affinities for things. So thug and guardsman will have that strength-based starter that no one else will have. Plus, they have their own little quirks and details that make them very specific to each class. So that classes aren't just a starting thing and then you forget about it. They have the quirks that kind of stick around for a while. Let's see. I have beggar, messenger. We have the barber surgeon, hunter, and I don't know if I'm going to keep this, but I definitely I definitely like this idea. I don't know if I'm going to completely stick to it. Okay, Tinker, Alchemist, Bard. Do I have any others? Yes. Let's see. I need to find another name for this class because the one I have currently won't work. And you'll see in a moment, the moment I figure out What I'm looking for is a word for something like a charlatan or a swindler, or maybe that'll work, swindler. But then I have con artist after that. The thing is, this is supposed to be like a purely allure-based character. So somebody who is incredibly visually powerful. So essentially somebody incredibly good looking. And that they use that for their gain. Like, I guess I could go with Harlot or with something more physical. I'll think of it more. Trickster, and that's more con artist than that is somebody who uses their physical looks very specifically. I'll keep with Harlot for now. I mean, at least I didn't just like write whore in or something. As a starting class, that would be interesting. So, we have character classes now kind of tied in loosely. And that's something that everybody should have, or every player character should have. So, we're just going to tack that in. Kind of with our non-existent gender right now that we haven't taken quite the time to tie in yet. So the warrior, I wanted him to have, not conditions, where'd it go? Oh, interesting, it's down here with the derived stats. You know what, then I'm gonna shift it, because I don't like it being with the derived stats at all. I like it to be... Also, I just realized I want this to be a set of flags, so I need to flagify that in a moment. Let's see here. Put it before references. Alright, so we've got our PC info right there, and that should crop up somewhere here. Come on. Recompile that code. There it is. Okay, so having the warrior start out as a thug or guardsman makes sense. I'm going to go with guardsman. The rogue, he's probably going to be closer to probably beggar or messenger, considering that he's a dex-based class, or a coordination-based class, versus our priest. Priest and initiate are kind of the easy one. And noble is what I'm going to put down for the mage, because that's the class hierarchy I've kind of had in mind for a while. I know that's not how it probably will be in the end. Actually, it might be. I've got some ideas for how I want the world to look when you arrive, and that's something that adds flavor to it. Having nobles be the ones who wield magic is kind of a stylistic choice I've seen in more than a few places, and I think I'd like to add it to mine as well. So we've got classes. Now we need to have items, and we have, so leggings. Here's the part where things get a little interesting, because what we have to do is we say, okay, thug is 1 left shifted 0 times. We need to do this for all of our, yeah, I just don't have a better way to do this. One left shifted once, 1 left shifted twice, 3. And luckily, while we are limited to the number of bits inside an integer, there are a lot of those. So I don't think we're going to come anywhere near 32 of these things. Yeah, didn't think so. Granted, we made it about halfway. We have 16, but that's not going to cause us trouble. Alright, and crap, I've done this before. I need to look at character to recall how I do this. Okay, cool. So I just have it, and it does it. Now, a character can obviously only be one class, versus an armor, a piece of armor, should be able to hold multiple classes. So there's kind of a dichotomy here that I don't like, because technically an adventurer should only be able to have one class. But for an armor to be able to hold multiple classes in its data structure, suddenly we have to think about, like, well, either we have a list of them, and that's not the end of the world, or we just say, we'll make it a flag, and just player characters only get one flag. And I think that's going to be the way that we do this. Okay, so if we look at the class requirement on all of these items, well, specifically on the ones you can equip, it looks like none is a choice? No. Okay. So it looks like it's having some issues, where it doesn't want us to be able to select more than one object. So what did I do differently for conditions that I can turn more than one on? Or can I not turn more than one on? Is that the issue? Is that... Oh, okay. I can't turn more than one on in the UI. That's weird. Okay, well, I know that weapon items have code that let me do this, so I will just find that code and do this. And I'm going to do it here. When I say serialize field, and it's an enumeration of type conditions so that they can have more than one condition in the editor. And also, inside armor items, so you can have more than one class inside your class requirements. Oh, there we go. So you can have dodging and asleep and guard spent, or nothing. I like how nothing and none are kind of separate choices of the same thing. None is just a shortcut for us to use in code. Although I don't think I use none, come to think of it. Of course, none is used by other variables as well, so I have to quickly double check that. You know what? Easier way to double check. Much easier way to double check. We do that and see what complains. Can't find the definition for none. Well. Yeah, no. I like the none as a shortcut. That's fine. I don't mind having multiple nuns. Okay, so what comes next? So we've got these pieces of armor. Here's leather leggings, and we say, well, leather leggings can be worn by thugs and guardsmen, and beggars and messengers, barber surgeons. Ah, man. Like, part of me doesn't want class restrictions, because all that does is stop certain classes from wearing certain things. I'm not a huge fan of that. What I think would be more normal feeling is to have restrictions and changes on the armor itself. Which is funny because I just spent all this time adding character class requirements to items. And I think maybe we can leave that. Yeah, I think leaving that's not the end of the world. But we do have to keep that in mind when we're working on some of this stuff. Who can use what is not exactly the most straightforward thing in the world. So we already have a skill for each weapon type, right? We split weapon types into their own thing, and that's how we have skills that manage the effectiveness of a weapon in a character's hands. It's really difficult to evaluate the effectiveness of a piece of armor on a character's body. So we got to figure out a better way to do that. Now, I like the requirements that I have, the stat requirements. The only thing I don't like about that is the fact that that doesn't really do anything except stop certain characters from putting on certain armor. And what I think I need are certain benefits for certain armors that match class types. So, for example, we could have armor that has extra damage reduction on it, right? We could have armor that has, excuse me, armor that inhibits or helps with spell casting. We could have armor that, I think that's what I want to do. Yeah. So armor is also going to have not just effectiveness, but some kind of coordination penalty. Coordination delta or something. Penalty is not the case because it's not always a penalty. So what that means is certain things will have certain penalties attached to it. For example, let's say that leather leggings don't really have much of a coordination penalty, versus robes will have a slight coordination penalty. And let's just, for the sake of having, is this all? No, this isn't all leggings. Legs, torso. Let's just have like a new armor item, and I'm going to call it trying to think of like what is the next step above I don't know, scale mail leggings. I don't think I need the word mail in there. Just scale leggings does the trick, honestly. Max stack size of 1. Just checking everything else for having the same item slot. These are leggings, so they go on the legs. Sell price, I don't know. I'm putting random numbers in for the most part on these. No class requirements specifically, but they require a higher endurance, and I just want to look at my warrior's endurance for, okay, his is 6 by standard. So let's say, since this is starter armor that we are attempting to make, that it requires a pretty high endurance, and that it is very effective. But also, the coordination delta on it is like a -4 as well. So, well, I have to keep in mind that every stat drop is incredibly significant. And so stuff like this is going to be factored in when we think of things like you're attacking somebody and your coordination is difficult. You're having trouble like getting somebody because the coordination causes trouble. But it's also incredibly effective. Somebody hits you and there's a decent chance that the armor is going to block, if not stop, a lot of that damage. Let's see. How much health do these people tend to start with? A base health of 8. Granted, we had high base healths on everybody because nobody had any armor. So I'm going to drop the base health slightly. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the armor that is attached to the body part that gets hit. And once we know what got hit, we can then say, ah, you got hit in the leg. You have this kind of leg armor. Therefore, we'll protect it. Or we won't, depending on what you're wearing. Let's see here. So we have to go back to our combat actions, because combat actions are what the monsters use. I probably should rename this to like monster combat action at some point. But that is a detail I don't want to really mess with. So, we know at this point you've gotten hit. Great. We have to figure out what kind of armor you're wearing. Let's see here. We already have the body part. That much I'm sure of. So if I look at body part for player characters, it's very easy to then grab armor based on that. So let's see. How do we do this? We say, if you hit somebody, we have to start considering how a body part attaches to a inventory slot on a character. And that's interesting. It's pretty much saying, like, if they're a player character, we should handle a lot of stuff. We already have an if T is player character, and we handle all the guard code right here to make sure that maybe you hit or maybe you miss. Since we know they're a player character, what I'm actually tempted to do, we'll have a variable called relevant armor. We're going to initialize it to null initially. And then what we'll do is we'll say, well, we'll assign to it if you are a player character. So if you're a player character, we do all the guard checks, and then we cache the relevant armor parts for later, just in case. So, relevant armor needs to get set. We know they're a player character, right? That's fairly simple. So, how do we tie the two together? That is the thing I'm having trouble wrapping my head around. Let's see here. Not void. First off, armor item. Get body part armor. So let's see here. We've got our body part. Now we just have to return the armor that may or may not be attached to it. if the body part is okay, character body part needs one more piece of information. And I need to figure out how to do this. Let's see here. We need the, is it the slot usability? I need to find this, go to definition. No, it is the equip slot. That is what I want. There we go. So we have the associated slot with the body part. Now, granted, that can be none as well, right? We've got, maybe I will go with slot usability, if only just to... So what I'm thinking here is that I could create a new enumeration inside of character that essentially says we need to tie these two pieces of information together. So what it would do is it would take the body parts associated information and attach that to the enumeration so that we could just quickly and easily query, hey, what slot is this? Let's see, okay, character, what's your inventory look like again? I need to see what this is, because that will help me decide. Oh, player character is the one who has inventory. Duh. Okay, it uses equip slots. So, equip slot is what I have to go with here. So we have the associated slot. Great. I need a way to specify none. That's the only thing that's getting me right now. So what I'm hunting for is any place where I might be abusing the inventory slots in a bizarre or weird way. I already have max as a type. The problem is if I put none equals 0 here at the bottom, then what that's going to do is that's going to shift everything else up one, and I'm not really sure that's what I want, because at that point, now head slot has been shifted one, all the different equip slots have been shifted, and max would have to be plus 12 minus 1 because I have this random none. What I do think I'm going to do is I'm going to set none to -1. And I think that'll be a good equip slot for nothing is going on here and I don't need to worry about armor in this case. And I think that's perfect. Right, player character. I have to finish this function I started writing. I'm sorry. Let's see, so if body part is not equal to, I guess I'll say if it's equal to so if it's none, we just return null. Otherwise, what we're going to do let's see here. We have an inventory full of inventory slots, and in this case it's pretty easy to just say return body part dot associated slot. We're going to do a conversion to integer here to make our life a little easier and just return that. And this should be an item instance. Yes, that's actually really true. So relevant armor is going to be equal to T as player character. So we're going to cast it over to a player character type, and then we're just going to say get body part armor. And we know the body part already, so we're not too worried about that. Everything else we kind of stop caring about until we make use of this later. So now we know you've been hit. Hey, if the relevant armor, if it's not an empty slot, we need to do damage reduction on it. So we do the damage roll, and then we're going to say, well, damage, we're going to actually say damage is equal to damage minus the relevant armor So let's see here. Armor definition is the relevant armor dot definition as an armor item. For now, I'm just going to subtract the effectiveness out, and we're just going to say, by the way, you also can't go below 0. Now we need more if statements. If damage is less than or equal to 0, let's see here. So we already have glancing. Let's see here. Oh, parried is the term. So glanced is the term I'm going to use here. And we're just going to put some color tags around this so that the engine knows to color things for us. And then we deal damage if there is damage left. Not bad. Could be maybe a little cleaner, but honestly, we're adding in a lot of weird little side statements here, and so I don't actually mind the fact that we are handling this all in one place like this in a giant blob. Yes, this function is the better part of about 100 lines long. That's not the end of the world for us, really. So let's attach some armor to some people and give it a swing. Let's see here. I'd probably need to make more armor just so that I know it's going to work out. We're going to have a scale breastplate. Goes on your torso. Worth a lot of money. A lot-ish. No class requirements, but a required endurance of 6. It will also have a pretty decent endurance effectiveness, but a pretty equally terrible coordination delta. That we haven't quite implemented yet, but we'll get to it, so don't worry. armor is kind of a lot of things at once, right? Right now we're just doing definition armor. What's going to happen is there's going to come a point where we say, well, what if it has enchantments on it? What if it has extra stats? What if another piece of armor gives it stats? Like, how do we handle all of these crazy cases? Crazy cases. So we have a scale breastplate attached to our warrior, and we have some scale mail leggings attached to him as well. That should be enough that if he ever takes a hit, we'll see something change. We'll see something be different. Let's go to our rogue, who we have leather leggings. We should probably also create whoops, I don't want to just call it new armor item, that'd be silly. Leather leggings, we also have a leather breastplate. Max stack size of 1, item slot is torso. Class requirements, none. Endurance, we'll put it a little lower. With a decently lower effectiveness, but also it'll have some kind of it won't have any coordination delta, so you can wear it without a huge penalty, at least. We'll probably add some penalty later. It'll probably be a spellcasting delta, probably. That's the next thing I want to add here, but haven't done quite yet. So let's get him some of this armor as well. So he needs leather leggings, 1 set, and his torso requires a leather breastplate and 1 set. Character 3 and 4, we're also going to go through the inventory, give them both a set of robes for their chests. I don't really know what else to hand them, so for now I think I'm going to stick to that. And that should be enough. We start to see some damage reduction kicking in, right? It's not much, but it's something. I do have to turn on fights so we can get in one. Great. So, warrior, let's actually not do things. Let's just have everybody rest. Okay, of course, the monsters have to hit the characters in order for this to become effective and do anything. Which is funny because they're not even trying to dodge, right? They're not even doing anything. Okay. Hit that. Okay, there we go. So, I mean, there's some damage reduction here. But the spells rip right through. So that's not even going to help. Also, this Screech attack, holy crap. Executron wasn't kidding. This is literally killing people in like a couple shots. Plugins, monsters, bat. Screech attack, where the hell is that? Weapon damage is like 1, maybe. Oh, also, I didn't think of that until now, but we also need to make sure that we're only considering armor on these. So, let's see, where did that go? So if there's relevant armor, and if we consider armor. That's the other thing we have to keep in mind. If we don't consider armor, we shouldn't be doing any of this. Okay, yeah, we just grab relevant armor kind of regardless of what's going on. Okay. Funny how this bat can't hit the people wearing... Well, I guess it doesn't matter, right? Armor is not really taken into account here. So, here's one that will, though. 2 damage to body. So note how much that damage dropped, right? Before they were doing decently sized chunks of health. And now they're doing a lot less, but at the same time, because they have less health, it's still kind of bad, for lack of better words. So, like, the bite hit. Bites usually are a lot of damage. Bite got dropped to 3. The claw got dropped to 2. I actually have a feeling like... let's look at this real quick. Just to make sure. Damage minus, yeah, the armor's effectiveness. I'm just gonna dump a breakpoint here for kicks. Spell. Healing spell on you. Cast. Spell, firebolt, that. Cast. Okay, so the attack does consider armor. The relevant armor is... I guess I'm curious where he got hit. Body part is... Oh, also they all have the wrong associated slot attached to them still. So this actually is completely ineffective still. Because what we need to do is... Everybody needs this as well. When I say body parts, and you hit the person in the head, yes, the associated slot's the head. That makes sense. Your associated slot is torso. Your associated slot is the leg slot. And finally, the feet. Let's try that again. This time with the associated slots matching, so that it'll work the way we want it to. I'm just blowing up the bat, essentially, to make sure that it doesn't do its screech attack, because it doing the screech attack will then appear to slow this down a lot, and I want to keep this moving. Okay, bites the warrior, miss. No, I need a hit. There we go. 2 to head. Head is the part I just removed everything from. Okay, fine. Everybody rests a little bit. Oh my god. Okay. Holy crap. They're just like eating the mage here. Guard that person. Fence, guard that person. Cleric, spell, heal that person. Oh my god. And you dodge. Why are they all getting bit in the head now? Why can they not get hit anywhere else? Okay, A damage to body. This is crazy. Like, I'm incredibly miffed that these guys can't seem to hit them anywhere where they have armor now to prove my point. Aha! Well, nope, wrong. That was a dodge. That was not a glance. Ah, okay, there we go. Hit glance. Sweet. So, he took no damage, and that was fine. Let's actually kill these things now. Kind of finish off what we're going for here. Someone's probably gonna die, because I already have 2 characters at decently low health and bad armor. I also probably want to remove a lot of the effectiveness from the armor, if only because I think it's a little too much. That, or I need to really drop everybody's base health, which is actually something I don't mind doing, right? We can take everyone's base health and drop it, let's drop it somewhat significant. Not maybe that significantly. Let's drop it to 4. Just to make sure that you don't get slaughtered, but you're not easily surviving everything either. Let's see here. Where's the items? Okay, leather removes 2. Leather should actually, let's only remove 1 effectiveness, at least from start. Scale, let's make it only remove 3, but still have a pretty nasty coordination delta. And that's really the only armor we've got going on, so... right. To get in a fight, I need random encounter chance set to 1, and holy heck, okay. Firebolt on that. Firebolt on that. Yeah, so it's now very terrifying to see these characters going for the mage and such, because I know their health is a lot lower. I kind of want to drop it even further, though, just to ensure that this is not easy by any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to drop it to 0, because that would mean that somebody's minimum health could possibly be 1 or 0. And that would be kind of bad to a point. You don't want to ever push a player's ability to feel like a character is not going to die in 1 hit. You just, having that happen always sucks. And so what we want to do is we want to take care of that in as few ways as possible. So if we say this person might die, that's fine. But to say they might die and you might have no way to save them. There's just no tension when they die. They die and you're just kind of like, well, oh well, I should have seen that coming. And that, it's not good design in any way, shape, or form. It really isn't. So what we need to do is we need to keep our design fundamentals in mind when we say stuff like this. And say, well, how do we handle this so that there is tension? Well, you'll note the rogue and mage were both low on health. I had to make the decision. Do I go for the character who may have less health overall, or do I go for the character who's more likely to be attacked? I do like that I can see the armor on them. There's the robes. And if we look at the cleric, there's the robes. And if we look at the rogue, here's our leather breastplate and our leather leggings. Yes, they're all X's because we don't have any symbols for them yet, but we'll get there. We're also to the point now where we really need mana. Otherwise, mages and clerics are incredibly overpowered right now. There's no way really to... Oh, wow. That mage just got eaten. Like, straight up eaten. Holy crap. That was a one-shot kill. They went from full health to 0. How much... What is their health total, even? Player character 4, if I look at your debug stats, your max health, where is that? Can I not see the max? Okay, I guess I can't see max health. Interesting. Well, it definitely is less than 8, I'll tell you that. Holy heck, that was unexpected. And see, there was no tension there. There was no, oh crap, he might die. It was just hit, oh, he's dead. Crud. Like, yes, there was surprise, but there wasn't any reason for me to worry about it. Like, there was nothing I could have done. He got hit, the dice rolled the wrong way, he died. Like, that literally is all I could have done. There was nothing more I could have hung on to. So like as the warrior drops in health, I start to get worried. I start to say, I should probably heal him. And if I had a limited amount of mana, I would want to try and conserve that. I'd sit here and say, well, if I cast heal wounds on him now, he might not, he might make it, but at the same time, I'd be worried. Versus you watch as he just got hit now, and I kind of went, okay, that wasn't a big damage attack. Had I not healed him, there would have been even more tension there. I would have said, oh god, oh, I should have healed him maybe. It kind of makes you regret decisions or make you think that maybe you should have acted differently. Make you feel like your choices matter. And that's one of the most important things that a game designer can do, is make a player feel like their choices matter. Like what they've said or done or acted in the game is meaningful. And that that meaning is not lost or wasted on a silly decision. Alright guys, I have to go. Thank you very much for joining me today. It has been a lot of fun. We got armor's effectiveness tagged in. We still have other things we want to get attached, such as the coordination deltas and other stat deltas, so that different pieces of armor can have different stats. Players can then weigh, do I like A, do I like B? It's really my choice. Instead of, this is clearly better armor, I should always have this equipped if I can. You could, but that's boring. I could do better than that. We can do better than that. So, I'm not going to do that. That's silly. Pretty freaking good. Alright guys, thank you again. I will see you tomorrow morning, same time and place, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.